Hi everybody, my name is Eric Davis. I am the director of the Texas Blues Project, a newly founded organization whose purpose is to honor the pioneer and heroes of Texas blues music. The organization is an outgrowth of work that began in August 2009 when visiting the grave of Sam Lightning Hopkins. While standing at Mr. Hopkins' grave, I was somewhat stunned to find that the only physical reminder of his existence in Houston was a very simple 18 by 24 inch marker. And I thought, if this is all there is for Mr. Hopkins, what about people like Alger Texas Alexander, Elmore Nixon, Juke Boy Bonner, this person and that one? We all know that Stevie Ray Vaughan has a great memory here in Texas, but what about some of these other people? Where are they and how are they remembered? The Lightning Hopkins Marker Fund was established and was successful in obtaining an official Texas state historical marker that was dedicated in November of 2010 with a great dedication ceremony. Over 300 people came, and there were performances by Milton Hopkins, a cousin of Lightning Hopkins, Diana Greenleaf and Blue Mercy, and Houston's great leader of the blues, Texas Johnny Brown. Also in attendance were two of his granddaughters and a great-granddaughter at the unveiling of the marker. The marker is, as we will see in a later post, at the corner of Dowling and Francis Street in Houston's historic 3rd Ward, which is appropriate because it is at a bus stop, and as history has proven out, Mr. Hopkins used to get on the bus and ride up and down busking for tips. With surplus funds, I decided to track down individuals that have also contributed to Texas blues history and learn about their physical memories. The first person I sought out is tied to Mr. Hopkins and is part of the reason he became Lightning Hopkins. His name is Wilson Thunder Smith. Mr. Smith is buried in what is now known as Calvary Hill Cemetery in North Houston. And today we're going to go visit his marker, which is an outpouring of the funds that were left over from the Hopkins Marker Fund. We have just pulled into the south entrance of the cemetery, and I'm going to give you a little video that goes along with the journey into his grave marker. You'll come up on 2 drives. The first one is immediately after the entrance, and this is the second one. You don't want to turn down there. You want to go to the next driveway on your right. So you'll go in 3 driveways on your right, and you see this tree that is right here to this side. And you're going to want to pull over here and stop here. Now, what makes Mr. Smith so important in all of this is that in 1946, Lightning Hopkins was discovered, more or less, by Lola Ann Cullum, a talent scout for Aladdin Records. And originally, she had intended to take Lightning Hopkins, Sam Hopkins, and his cousin, Texas, sort of cousin, so to speak, because there's no real proof that they were actually related. His cousin, Alger Texas Alexander, to Los Angeles to record. But Miss Cullum had some sort of reservations, it said, about his having just gotten out of jail. And therefore, she picked this rollicking boogie-woogie piano player to go along with Mr. Hopkins instead. And his name was Wilson Thunder Smith. Mr. Smith made some recordings, but never really became very well known. And that is part of the tragic portion of this, in that he kind of has been lost to memory. So if you listen to the complete Aladdin Records recording for Lightning Hopkins, you'll find that the first 4 songs are actually sang by Wilson Thunder Smith, and Hopkins just played guitar on those. Then as it went on, Wilson Thunder Smith kind of reversed roles, and he just played piano on quite a few tracks, and it quickly became apparent that Mr. Hopkins was going to be the star of this situation. After that, Mr. Smith wasn't really heard from too much anymore, and he recorded a few sides at Gold Star Records with Bill Quinn, and you can learn more about that in the great book about Gold Star Sugar Hill Studios that was called The House of Hits by Roger Wood and Andy Bradley, who's one of the chief engineers there now. In any case, he recorded a few sides, but by the beginning of the 60s was pretty much forgotten. And I'm just going to give you a look around the cemetery here first, where we are. And, excuse me. And after a while, he kind of got out of the music business. Over time, he was almost totally forgotten. And by 1964, had suffered a pretty violent death. Now, when I first tracked down Mr. Smith, all I could find was that he, or determined from the records that were available at that moment through the funeral home here at Calvary Hill, was that he was pretty much in this general area. And the best that I could get was that he was along this fence line that you can see in the row of oak trees. On a subsequent visit, I was able to determine that he did have an actual marked place. And the reason I was able to do that is because they dug a little deeper and then brought me out to the place where he was supposed to be. Now, I knew he didn't have a marker, but I wasn't even close, and I wasn't really expecting just to find that he was resting in an unmarked grave. But he had been resting in an unmarked grave since 1964. And as I said, I thought it was kind of tragic that in these instances, some of these pioneers and heroes of Texas blues music have been forgotten and laid to rest, and that's all there is. There's no physical reminder of their memory. So one of the programs for the Texas Blues Project is going to be to track down other Texas blues musicians, singers, performers, and people who are related, including producers and things like that, and determine if they have grave markers. If they don't, we will purchase, at the very least, a very simple grave marker for them. Right now, though, we are standing at the first success story of the Texas Blues Project, which is a grave marker for Wilson Thunder Smith. And this is what it looks like. Unfortunately, it does have a few leaves on it, which we're going to brush off here so we can get a better look. Already somewhat covered by some dirt, which I'll have to clean off later. But it's now been in place for about 2 weeks, and I just wanted to come out and show everybody that these people are remembered, that they have made a contribution, that is worthy of being remembered, and that we will attempt to carry on their memory however we can, to let people know that there is an important contribution made to not only Houston's cultural memory, but to Texas blues history. With that, we will move on to the Lightning Hopkins marker and his grave in the next video. Thanks for joining me. Once again, that's the Texas Blues Project. If you have any questions, you can contact me at texasbluesproject@gmail.com or redavis59@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.